Let me switch back to this so we can see the chat. Go. Ready?
Welcome to Books We Never Read.
Except for those we have.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jason.
And today we are discussing chapters 1 through, 18?
18.
I may or may not have read 18 or 19. I'm not sure. It's fine. Of Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey or Corey S.A. James.
James is his first name.
Okay, there we go. Couldn't remember. If you're here, welcome. If you've read this part of the book, stay with us. Comment in the chat with us. Participate. And if you haven't read up to this part in the book, you probably should stop the video and go read. And then catch us on a replay. And then you can chat us up in the discussion box. Nothing super spoily has happened yet. So if you are just catching us, you could catch up. Like, you could play along and then read parts 1 and 2 for next week. I think it'd be fine. We have tons of other books playlisted for you in the playlist section of our channel. We are also on YouTube Music as a podcast. And we're on Instagram. I had many ideas for things to post to Instagram, but I didn't have the energy to find a corresponding meme.
Oh, yeah? We should
I'm not good at, like, making them, you know? I know, but
you should have told me.
You're busy. So... yeah, it's time to outsource.
The Instagram was pretty busy today. I feel like, or this week, I think Shelby sent us a bunch of things. I think you sent us a bunch of things. I sent us a bunch of things.
So we need to get to...
Most of it was, in my mind, related to, like, Fourth Wing stuff. I had a lot of stuff about just, like...
It's the most memeable thing that we've read.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this tea bag out.
You're fine. Just don't burn yourself. So anyways, yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the book?
I'm loving it. I think it's great. I think I've said this before that, this is a show on Amazon, and I've watched some of it. I don't remember anything, but
I remember some cowboy.
No, but that's the other thing is I think I'm confusing this
there's like
with
altered carbon.
Yeah, and Firefly. That's the one with the cowboy. I don't think there's a cowboy in this one.
Oh.
Yeah, Firefly is the one with Nathan Fillion. No, okay, don't worry about it. Anyway, like as I'm reading the book and as I hear characters' names, I think I remember like who played them, and I'm always like, oh, that was perfectly cast. That was perfectly cast. So like Miller, I don't know the actor's name. I'm sorry, but like I think Miller was a fantastic cast.
Like, I am remembering some of this. I remember the Julie Mao thing, and I remember it being a kidnapping job that he had to do.
Yeah, see, like I don't really remember all that. But so what really stood out to me just like so clearly was when they describe the OPA guy. Oh man, what is his name? That is sitting with the sheriff or whatever. What's the show called? The Expanse. Hang on, I'm gonna get a name for you. Okay. So the guy who plays Anderson Dawes. Dawes is the guy that he meets on, like at the bar, and like keeps coming around. He says he's going to help him find Julie and all that stuff. Anyway, they describe Anderson Dawes as like kind of smiley, but he's pocked. Like they use the word pocked, and immediately I remembered that they used Jared Harris. That's this guy.
Yeah, that guy's great.
Perfect casting. It's anyway, but my point is like now that I'm reading the book and I'm vaguely remembering the show. I'm realizing like what a really good job they did.
That is second Dumbledore's actor's son.
Yeah, town.
Because Dumbledore's Richard Harris, Sir Richard Harris.
Oh,
and
I
that's
know that.
his son. Yeah.
Jared Harris, I like. He was
Gosh, he was in the Isaac Asimov Foundation series.
Yes.
He was in Mad Men. Yes. I mean, he's just been in.
He was the king
things.
that abdicated in. I don't know, one of these like British royalty shows.
Yes.
I can't keep them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a fantastic actor. It doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, so Peggy is saying that Miller is her least favorite character after Shadid. Not only is she a duty head, but her name is sort of analogous to being a duty head. Right? Shadid.
Yeah. It's often spelt
that way. Yeah, we're just saying. So there might be like a play there. I don't know, but it's kind of funny. I don't really have a problem with her. I don't know. She's like trying to do a hard job, and like she's playing games. I get it, you know. I mean, now that we're like just diving straight into material and stuff,
Yeah.
one of my favorite things about like the like you're right, Miller is interesting because he's like kind of washed up, and you're like watching him realize this.
That was really
Yeah,
sad.
he's like, "Oh, am I the guy? Yeah, man, you're the guy." But he keeps talking about how there's no law on Ceres. There's only cops, and I think that's so interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what Shadid is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
she's not the law; she's a cop, and I mean they're private security.
Mm-hmm.
This is I mean anybody who's been watching the show for a while knows that like I'm involved in law enforcement, and I'm very very opposed to the concept of privatizing law enforcement, because you end up with this, right? You don't have law,
Right.
you have cops,
Right.
and whoever pays them gets to, you know, at least there's like an elected official or somebody you can hold responsible. Like I get the complications in force.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Do you want to shut the door?
no.
Okay. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but she's
Wow.
giving her biggest woo woo.
Yeah.
Sounds like there was a dog loose outside.
Hang on, I'm gonna go. Y'all keep going.
Yeah, so you can shut the door, please. I really like kind of learning the relationship between like where Miller is and like the belt planets and how they feel about Earth people, and like when you're raised on Earth you look a little different because of gravity, and your gestures are a little bit different because your world is just different. I thought that was really interesting. Anyone else super excited that they're happy to call each other by sir and boss, but they're all still super racist? Yeah. And that's like really normal with military stuff. Everyone's a sir, you know. But yeah, a lot of heavy planetism in this book. Like, so who's Miller's partner that's from Earth? What's his name? The Belters are so caught in the middle. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Oh, yep, dog's loose. Neighbor lady's out in her jammies, calling after her wild dog. Yeah, I feel bad for that guy, though. Miller's partner. Yeah, Havelock. Okay, so there's something else that is like... Yeah, oh, he quit. Gotcha. So, the very first thing that we read in this book is describing the girl who is... Oh, they got the dog. Good. The girl that's like locked in the little cabinet. Is that Julie Mao? And did she survive? And why didn't we find her when Jim and his crew went over there? Yeah, Peggy, I don't know that he's like out forever. Why would we include him in that part? Except just to show us the differences in how they're treated, like Belters and Earthers are treated. That might have been kind of his point. But maybe he'll come back. He seemed like a good guy. Yes, early Earther problems. Loose dogs.
I don't even want to talk about it. Let's keep going. Anyway, so I'm not sure what all I've missed. The thing that I'm most interested about has only ever been mentioned once, and like we've never gotten back to it. And it's that like when Julie Mao cracks open the like engine room or whatever on the Scapulae or whatever ship she was on, she sees like this like human skin thing. Yeah, the goo head plastered on the wall. Do you remember that? Like that's the first thing. You only ever see it from Julie Mao's perspective. She goes to the engine room. There's like human skin and like a head like screaming at her or something wrapped around like the engine core. It's the very first chapter.
Wait, I didn't understand that happening.
Yes, it's the very first chapter. And then and so there's mention that like the engine room was locked from the inside. So for whatever reason,
Right.
they locked themselves in there because there's something and they were like they chose to lock themselves in to not let it out. Maybe is what it looks like. Point being, she's now missing. The last time we saw her, she was talking to the goo head. Nobody has ever seen it again. I think that our heroes,
Jim
and all them, I think they have gone into that room but didn't see it whenever they were exploring the scopuli. But anyway, what's that about? Never come back to that.
Well, and then she's not in there as far as they can tell.
Right. Anyway, I don't think it's Holden's head because all that seems to happen well before Holden's ever involved, right? Like, this is...
Holden's ship got hailed to come help.
Correct, yeah. So,
and then we find out it was like a setup from somebody.
But so I'm throwing all that out there because, there's this... I mean, to follow up on y'all's thought here about, now the belt is caught in this middle and there seems to be this weird... Like, it's not going to go well for them. This Martian warship, not the Donager, because that shows up later, but, like, whatever it is that blows up Holden's ship, the Canterbury, it's like lurking out there. For some reason, it has not blown up the ship with like the human skin goo head.
Because that's like the bait ship now.
But it has something on it.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, either go get it or blow it up. I don't know. Like, what is that? And why are you protecting? Like, are you protecting it? Why are you protecting it? Well, like, what's going on here? Anyway, so the point being is there's a lot to do in Miller's world about like these, or maybe not even Miller's world, but Holden's world at least, about like the technology of these like 6 ghost ships that go fight the Donager. But nobody's talking about like whatever this goo head thing is because nobody knows about it. But so there's a lot of technology floating around out there that we don't really know about.
Thinking that the parents set up the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe. It could be like a corporate situation. I'm not opposed to that idea. So far, we have no evidence that Earth is involved at all. It could also be like a Martian sort of like Civil War situation. Yeah, I don't know.
There was a comment about how Earth always has to just get involved.
Yeah,
and it made me laugh.
Duh.
I was like, yeah.
That
checks out.
I thought the Donager was really cool. I thought that everybody on it was really professional, and I like that. I thought that when it came to an emergency situation, they handled it tactically very well, which I appreciated. And
that was sad.
And it was just a cool ship. Like they talk about like being this ugly office building or whatever, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't think... I'm not sure that I would say that I think that the space politics is to bring the kid home. I think that they were just, like, doing this move, and then we're like, oh, don't forget Julie's out there. And then, like, now we gotta go get her or whatever, I don't know. I mean, like, I really don't know. The space goo thing is... I mean, it's literally mentioned one time, and then we never go back. Well, you'll have to go read that chapter.
Yeah, like, if maybe they got melted into the engine core is all I can think of.
I guess. But I don't know. Like, the way it's described, it's weird.
How did I miss that?
I mean, it's literally the first chapter. It's very fast.
Like, maybe I paused the audiobook and it picked back up further away or something. Sometimes it keeps going.
Peggy, I was kind of sad about the Marines, too. Like, we didn't really know them, but, like, you understand that they're, like, just doing a job. And like, there's the part where, like, the guy's behind the crates shooting at, like, the 4 dudes up on the catwalk or whatever, and he gets, like, him and the crates explode in a blinding light. And then there's, like, the other dude that's running across the middle of the hangar bay, and then he just, like, gets yeeted. Just blasted by, like, a ray of light or something, and then...
That just reminded me. That was so sad with Shed. The guy that was a doctor.
Where his head just gets...
After going... Like, he went through all that trauma of, like, people dying and him frustrated that... like, there's just never the right supplies on any particular ship. Yeah. And then he just, in a moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that scene was really cool. Like, it was sad, but, like, it was interesting because it kind of... Like, space battle, you don't hear anything. You hear your own ship. But, like, you don't hear missiles and, Gauss rounds or whatever coming in. And then just, like, there's holes and people are dead. And, like, how weird and horrifying must that be? And it's very... I mean, like it's violence on a level that's so abstract that we can't even begin to understand, and the physics of them having to like plug the wall with like the food tray and stuff like that, I thought was really cool. Because you don't get a lot of that in like Star Wars and stuff like that. Just like doors close and people are cool, or like the wall's gone and everybody gets sucked out. Like that's it. But like, what would you do in this situation? So. I also thought it was cool when they were talking about how like boarding actions are basically unheard of because people just like will blow up their own ship and then you'll die too because you're like there. I thought that was cool. Because in the other like sort of space series that we've recently read, Red Rising, they do boarding actions, but they don't really like pull their ship up and hop on board. They, throw themselves through space in like metal suits and bash in through the walls. You remember that part, the Iron Rain or whatever? Because like for example, in Star Wars, one of the very first scene in the original Star Wars movie in New Hope is Princess Leia's ship being like tractor beamed up into a Star Destroyer. In hindsight, that is so incredibly dangerous because like what if there's nobody on there? What if there's like one suicidal dude in there who's just like, I'm gonna blow this as soon as I get in there? That's exactly how I would go about destroying these things, They pull the Millennium Falcon in and they have no idea what it is, and they just like bring it on into the Death Star. What if it blew itself up? I feel like this book has like some very interesting real takes on
But you can control, I don't know the physics of that, but I feel like you can control so much vacuum and whatnot that like you could just open the bay door and let that explosion handle itself out in space.
I mean, it depends on how fast your bay door can open. Yeah. I guess.
Well, it's just a force field,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't really remember.
Just drop that force field. Talk about the transponders. Yeah, so Jim Holden now just on the run.
Yeah, it's cool. I like his little ship. I love that they're just like happy with it because like so much terrible stuff has happened to them, and they're like, this has a shower that you can go forever. And that's cool. I enjoy that. Yeah. But I'm definitely interested. I kind of want to know about Earth now, right? So like Earth and Mars are clearly not the same entity anymore. That's fine. The belt is kind of like a corporate gig, maybe run out of like all kinds of places. I think the space racism is kind of interesting. We do on occasion get like mentions of people's skin color, and on occasion we get mentions of people's religion, especially Mormonism, which is mentioned repeatedly.
Yes, it is.
But and I think that's interesting. We'll come back to it. But one of the comments is that like especially on Mars, there was some valley on Mars that was settled by like the Chinese, the Indians, and the Texans, and everybody caught the Texan accent. They couldn't help it. But they also mentioned that like most things are in like Hindi and then English, or then like English and then Hindi or whatever. And the point being is that like that's a very realistic point of view, that like it's not just gonna be like white dudes up in space, like it's gonna be all the same people we have here, probably similar population distributions if everybody's like moving out into space or whatever, and like they just hate you because of being like born down a gravity well or whatever. So
okay, so I was just looking up about James S.A. Corey, and that's actually a pen name for 2 writers.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is he Mormon?
Well, I'm wondering.
So many like sci-fi and fantasy authors are Mormon, and like I don't know why that is. It just happens to be the case.
Well,
I'm not sure if
that like view towards space and a next life in space is much more of a real view for them.
But like I don't. But like okay, but like. Is there something analogous to like other religions where like they write something else more? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think the generation ship is very interesting. Hey baby. Okay, be careful.
Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to do some more research into that. Just for interest's sake.
Yeah, so Peggy's talking about how interesting the Mormons is, right? Not only is this book like not modern times, but like the Mormons are still around in however many years, 500 years into the future. not only are they still around, but they're like doing well enough money wise to build this like massive ship, and then they're gonna blast themselves to this like star because they just believe that there's a planet there. They might have some evidence, but with the characters that we're given, we're kind of led to believe that it's almost just like sort of spiritual guidance, that maybe there's something there, and no like astronomical guidance.
Hope that works out for them.
Yeah. and the ship is called the Nauvoo, and if I'm not mistaken, Nauvoo is a place that is significant for Mormons. I'm not sure about that, but it might be the name of like a city that was important to them or something. But anyway.
Oh, he named the ship after.
Yeah, Don Quixote's horse is Rocinante.
Nice.
And they don't ever actually say that, but Holden makes a joke about going to fight windmills or something.
Yeah, I've never read that.
I mean, it's whatever.
I don't know anything about it. Other than the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so far, it's been a fun little read. It's not like overly challenging. The world building is done so smoothly.
Mm-hmm. You're just in it.
Yeah, there's, and by smoothly I mean like there's no part where a character is walking across like
a parapet.
and you know, just tells you the history of the world. So.
Well, Peggy, Scientology does have a sci-fi fling, and it just is itself.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just sci-fi.
I wonder if like sci-fi authors just assume that Scientology just like won't make it that far. I don't know. It's like it's not gonna make it. Yeah. You know, because you know what's also interesting. Yeah, there we go.
Good job, Shelby. Just gold stars all around. Just everybody. Just knowing it's Don Quixote's horse and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's cool about having a book club is everybody can pick up on all these little references and like do the math on it.
I'm literally just like reading like I'm watching Star Wars, like.
But you know what's kind of interesting, I think, is I think Mormons are the only like Christian variety that are mentioned whatsoever. But no, that may not be true. I think there's mention of like some like New Catholics or something, right? Like maybe some other flavor.
I just noticed the Mormons because it came up like 5 times.
Oh yeah. Well, it's important because
it made me laugh.
And it, you know, we'll mention it again, I'm sure, because now that we're at like Fred Johnson's space station, they are building the Mormon mothership. Yeah, you know, that's kind of the deal. So.
It also reminds me of in the first series that we read, Remembrance of Earth's Past, the like the neon cross that's orbiting.
Yeah.
There's just always something.
Yeah.
Scientology does not share. Yeah. Which is why they'll stay pretty isolated.
That's fine. I knew a Scientologist in college.
Really?
He was like a child Scientologist. His parents raised him that way. Yeah. I knew several Mormons too.
And I just remembered this detail. They were pushed to explore space because Earth had birth limits.
Right.
And that was not jiving well with the Mormons.
And so Holden is the child of like 10 people,
and he's 5
like
dads and 3 moms, because it gave him tax credits or
yes.
something, so they could have a plot of land.
Yeah, but he's like a perfect DNA mix of all of them. It wasn't like a game, you know, like he wasn't like, oh, it's our kid, you know. He was like literally their kid. Yeah, that was cool.
And then they picked the one with the widest tips to actually carry him. Brilliant.
Yeah. You know, it's just. Part of what is hindering space travel currently is just like the expense of all of it. And once you can build stuff in space, the cost of building things kind of gets less. And especially once you can start pulling resources from other places or whatever. Yeah. But like the whole concept that like you need to have this engine so you can bring water from Saturn to the belt or to Mars or to wherever you're going, and y'all are literally hauling water around. Like, that's wild, you know? And at one point they mention when Miller is trying to do the math on like where could they possibly gone, because he's trying to whittle down the logs of like ships landing or whatever. I think he calls them puddle jumpers, but he mentions that like there's basically just like delivery spacecraft that go from like this station to that station, and they're not doing anything. They're just, you know, they're Amazon trucks or whatever, you know? And like, how cheap is space travel, and or how expensive is everything, you know? There's really no indication that people's like quality of life is really bad, meaning that like everything is super expensive. Their quality of life is different because a lot of the things they're using are like self-sustaining, and more than anything, space is a premium. But well, it doesn't seem that awful. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm eager to see where this goes. We have not seen Julie Mao since chapter 1.
I think she's dead.
Do you think so?
So, I mean, because she mentions that the engine room was locked from the inside. She goes in and finds the goo head. And my suspicion is that whatever would cause someone to lock themselves in would cause her to lock herself in. And it could be like radiation or something. And she's like, oh my God, I'm leaking radiation out into space. I don't want to kill anybody else or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But, no, the food does not seem good.
It's
sometimes
just
the food,
nutrition.
Yeah. Sometimes the food we eat is
everything is fungus based, which I think is fascinating and very effective. You know, like because fungus is just it just grows and grows and grows and grows. So like all their beer is just like fungus beer and.
You know, at one point Miller talks about how like he drinks water and it was like good water, but at one point it was somebody else's waste or blood or whatever it is. You know, and so we're hauling in water, right? And so, but we're probably not losing all that much water. They're very efficient. It makes me think of like Dune and all that. But like in Dune, like if you died, they'd suck all the water out of you. And there's no mention. We have had several characters die. Nobody ever talks about taking their water, which I feel like is something that we might adapt to in this situation. And also, there's never any talk about controls on like these thousands of ships that land every day. Like, what if they fill up several jugs of water and then leave? What if everybody does that every day? Like, what does that mean? And I wonder if there wouldn't be some sort of regulation on water, taking it on and off the, okay, are you about to leave on your space freighter? All right, everybody go pee because we want to keep that, right? Like, I don't know.
Don't take that with you.
Don't take that with you. That's rude. Yeah. I don't know. And what's interesting too is like at some point in the future, like there's peak water, right? At some point you will have used as much, like it's all downhill from here, and we will have used over 50% of the Saturn water, and like what's the plan, you know?
That just reminds me of this little spiel that I just watched from Neil deGrasse Tyson yesterday. I don't think it's a new spiel, you know, but about like, you know, how many molecules of water there are in your glass of water and what that turns into, and what you put out is, I mean, it's just like an infinite amount of molecules almost. It's wild. Yeah. It all matter's neither created nor destroyed, right? Like it's all just squished around and repurposed. I don't know.
Yeah. Becky says they would just monitor the ship's weight, and we do have reference to that.
Yes.
Anderson Dawes says that Julie Mao's ship, one of the ships she was on at some point, arrived lighter.
Everyone went potty at a pit stop. Yeah, very entertaining. Easy to listen to.
Yeah.
What does Julie Mao race?
I don't know.
I need to see this written down.
In the audiobook, it's
penis.
Her penis. And
I said what?
They say it like 7 times.
I had to back it up.
Yeah. Well, there was like Miller was in her apartment and saw a picture of her with her penis, and I was like, okay, right, whatever. I don't know.
Oh yeah, being fired, you know, being put on administrative leave, that never stops a cop. Yeah. That just emboldens them to work harder.
Okay, so I was thinking about this yesterday, and I think I like Miller, and I like him because Holden is our hero, right? Like he is a true hero. He was a normal dude, ice hauler. There's this call to adventure. He rises to this call. He tries to protect his people. He's like strapping guns to him to go meet Fred Johnson now. Like he's doing all this stuff. And so he's our true hero. And then you have on the opposite side our other main character, Miller, who is not a hero. In fact, not only is he not a hero, the only reason he's interested in helping is because he is curious. Right?
They are foils to each other. And that's
really
always
like
a fun way to go through a story.
Yeah. And so, he's not trying to be a good cop. He's not trying to help Julie. He's just like, he's got this thing in him that won't let him go once he's got hold of something, you know? So.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see how this is spelt.
Yeah, I figured it was some sort of like space yacht that she races or something. I don't know.
I don't want to Google that.
Here, I will. Julie Mao. It is spelled Pinnace.
Oh, a penis.
I still don't know
Which
what
is
it means.
exactly what he's saying, but that is just not. I couldn't handle it. I had spelt every word of my question wrong to Google, except for Julie. Okay, well, so what's a penis? I just feel like I can't even say that.
Well, we've said it like 9 times, and we're probably gonna get flagged by the YouTube.
Penis. A small, light vessel traditionally propelled by oars or sails, used as a tender to larger ships, or a small, fast, and maneuverable ship in its own right.
I wonder if it'd be something that has like solar sails. You know, I think that'd be kind of cool. But who knows?
Okay, so what's a penis in The Expanse? Yeah.
Cool.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yep. But so for all the 18 chapters we've read, I feel like, obviously we're just still...
Y'all are
Lord.
funny.
I will make a meme about this. I will figure it out.
I love the book club.
Yeah. I've already got an idea. I need to go. I have things to make.
Oh, I do want to shout out. I didn't mention it earlier, but y'all said that broccoli is always memeable.
Yeah.
And you're correct.
Broccoli is always memeable.
The best character in the book.
Okay, so Peggy or Shelby, somebody told us that Miller was their least favorite after Shadid or whatever. Who is your favorite character so far? Because honestly, I think I like Amos.
Who?
Amos. He's the
cowboy.
He's the cowboy. He's the cowboy character, I guess.
I
But like
the girl that Holden leans on so much, and finally
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm not a doctor."
Yeah,
Like,
she was cool.
I work in the engine room, but like she's just so smart and so capable.
Yeah.
He just takes that for granted.
Well, and that was a good scene when he realizes that like whenever he can't solve something, he just throws it on her.
Good leadership. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you recognize, what you're doing.
Well, what's interesting is like it kind of implies that she's the more capable one, but she is not the leader. And then at one point she says, "I can't be the leader
because I can't make these hard
I can't
choices."
do this." Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody,
the mechanic.
Amos, Holden, those are good character picks. If the Martian lieutenant had lived, he might have been one of my favorite ones. So
I don't remember that phrase.
That's funny. They do say some funny stuff.
Oh, Alex is the cowboy.
Yeah. I get Alex and Amos confused. Alex, I think, is the pilot.
That's what they said.
Who's always talking about the juice, right? He wants the juice.
The juice.
Yeah. And it's not exactly clear to me like what Amos's job is. I just like him. So
I might need a list of characters.
yeah, I see them, and like I'm gonna have to look at this cast list.
Oh,
again.
and you see him as their. That helps that you've kind of watched some of the show and you remember.
Yeah,
who
this is the
everyone
guy I
is.
see as Amos. Yeah.
That's so funny. He's got a lot of teeth.
I'm really good with faces, and so I can just remember the faces, even though I can't remember the story at all or what their names were.
So I couldn't remember if it was The Expanse or if it was Carbon. Isn't it Carbon Black? Isn't that the other one?
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Carbon Black. What is that? That's like a antivirus software.
Altered Carbon. I think the main character in the first season is
the same guy. Okay. Well, anyways,
yeah.
there was a woman in Altered Carbon that was also in Hamilton. She was one of the Schuyler sisters. She was incredible.
Yeah, she was really good.
And I'm like, how are you such a great actor in this sci-fi show and also such an incredible actress on Broadway?
Yeah.
How do you go that far? But also like Dexter was in Hamilton. He's the king.
Are you sure?
Yes.
The King is my favorite character. So, yeah.
Isn't that him? I think that's him.
I don't know. Anyway, we've probably like totally mixed up every character from every series or whatever, but it's fine.
Whatever.
Look, we mentioned The Foundation earlier. If y'all have never watched The Foundation on Apple TV, it's good. The first season is good. The second season is lacking.
But still good for someone who's never read the series.
That's true.
But
and they are different.
I'll say don't expect it to hold up to Asimov's series because he is a very special.
I think that's the wrong way to think about it. Don't think about it as holding up. It is a different. It's almost like a fan fiction. Like it's a retelling. It is significantly different.
You should always consider books and the TV versions to be separate pieces of art.
Yeah, he was the Glee kid. Here,
I really thought that was the guy from Dexter. Because he's in all kinds of stuff.
Anyway.
I never watched Glee.
Good for you.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've said everything we need to say, more or less. I've got memes to make. Anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
Cool. Good Omens was good.
Like,
is there a second season we've never watched?
Maybe, but we will not be seeing anything come from the world of Neil Gaiman probably ever again. Because that man is in trouble.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah. He did not keep his penis to himself, apparently.
I'll have to look into it.
All of his shows are canceled.
Oh, no.
Everything. Anansi Boys was going to be coming out. I was so looking forward to that. And that's all done. Stupid.
Interesting.
He is not. Not the.
The books are still fantastic.
Gosh, they're so good. Why do people have to be so sharing in the ways that don't need to be shared? Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so we listened to like the first 5 minutes of Good Omens, and it was like word for word the show intro of Good Omens, and I was like, I think we're good. I think we've read it just by watching it. Yeah, that was so good. So yeah, maybe there is a season 2 we need to watch.
Cool.
While we can.
Yep. All right, well, let's wrap this up. We have things to do. If you are reading along with us for next week, we are reading chapters 19 through something.
I don't know, add 18 or 19 to it. It's in the description box below.
Yep, it is. And I can find it for you. It is chapters 19 through 37. So anyway, we hope you enjoy yourselves. We'll be meeting this time next week, 10 a.m. Central. See you there.
Happy reading.
Bye.